The car business is rapidly changing, and modern car dealers are meeting the demand. I'm Michael Cirillo, and together we're going to explore what it takes to create a thriving dealership and life in the retail automotive industry. Join me each week for inspiring conversations with subject matter experts that are designed to help you grow. This is the Dealer Playbook. We're sitting down now with the man, the super coach, Mr. Coach Burt. Thank you so much for joining us on the Dealer Playbook.
Absolutely, man. The Dealer Playbook. I'm excited to be with you, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Robert listening to my books and reading my books and you guys having me on. I'm always honored to get out there, and you got a phenomenal fan base, and man, I'm just excited to be with you today.
And you know what a phenomenal opportunity is to sit with an actual real coach talking about the plays in the playbook. So, you know, that's kind of where I want to get started with you today, Coach. Is I mean, you go from coaching championship basketball to a life coach, a business coach, a freaking juggernaut powerhouse in the business world. How did that happen? What did that look like for you? What made you go from coaching basketball to where you're at now?
You know, I think people have a unique ability, some superior skill set. They're many times given very early in life at birth. And for some reason, I was given a talent of the emotional and psychological side of winning. You know, I really understood how to touch all four parts of a person's nature: the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit. And so early in my coaching days, man, I was teaching all of this success stuff to my players. I was teaching them the 7 habits of highly effective people and the principles of good to great. And I was doing this with 14 to 18-year-olds. And we began to win so many games that people began to ask me, you know, what are you doing? How are you winning? How are these players so competitive? And I said, well, I'm really, teaching them all of these things from the business world. And it became so popular, people began to ask me to speak. And will you come talk at this and be at this banquet? And so I really liked it. I wrote my first book at 25. And that's really when big corporate America and people began to see me in another light than just a basketball coach. They really began to see me as this motivational guy who understood how to take a group of people and get some serious results with them.
Okay, so and this is something I find interesting, just on that topic about teenagers and all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's so many people on the planet right now that complain about this entitled generation we have, but I think everybody has potential for greatness. And I love what you're talking about, how you're catching them at a young age and impressing upon them, you know, these principles of success that they're not gonna or that they wouldn't traditionally learn in the school system. I think is pretty powerful. What we find now, leading into my question here, is a lot of young people, a lot of millennials in the car business. Robert and I hear from them almost every day. They send us emails saying, "Hey, I'm brand new to the business. I want to make a big go of this. I want to do things differently." What do you say to these individuals? Where do they start? What's the number one? I guess Coach Burt, day one. Business 101. What's the concept that you want to ingrain or impress upon their mind right out of the gates?
Well, here's a big mistake I think millennials make, and I've got several on my team, is that I think they go for the money versus the mentor. And that's a tweetable right there, by the way. They go for the money versus the mentor. And what I mean by that is who's coaching you matters, okay? And so the reason I came to the concept of the Greatness Factory, my training facility in Tennessee, is because people would ask me, what did I do with those kids to get them to play at that level? And I'd say, well, we kind of got our own little greatness factory. Is we take kids from all walks of life, all backgrounds, those social and economic backgrounds, and we put them into our system. And 5.5 hours a day for 4 straight years, we coach their knowledge, their skill, their desire, their confidence. And then we pump them out on the other side as winners. We're engineering people to win. Well, what's happening in our country? So a new person goes to work at a car dealership. They don't have a little greatness factory. They don't have a person coaching them every day. They don't have a person developing these things. So they're really left to learn it on their own. And that's why I suggest that a person that comes out that's ready to start needs to first find a great mentor that will pour into them every single day. I think about the guy, my sales guy. He's worked for me 3 different times. He spends 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day with me, and I'm just pouring everything I've ever learned into him, which is accelerating his opportunity to be successful. So the young people that go out there and try to make it on their own, they don't have a coach, they don't have a selling system, they don't have a good follow-up mechanism, they don't know how to take current customers to advocates, they don't have anybody coaching them. So what they do is they flounder around for years until finally somebody walks into their life that helps them manufacture their own greatness. So I would go for the mentor first versus the money.
Love that. And
that is a tweetable.
That's a tweetable right there. And I love that because, one of the things I learned, one of the things my mentors taught me is the first thing you just need to know who to listen to, right? But in your, approaching it from your vantage point, what should somebody be looking for? How do they know who to pick to be their mentor?
Well, not all people want to be mentors. There's been people in my life that I sought out to be a mentor that had no interest whatsoever in being a mentor to me. A mentor is so I put these categories in different categories. They're different than a coach. A coach is a person that most likely I'm paying that is going to engage me in a set of systematic and consistent behaviors that allows me to do something tomorrow I cannot do today. A mentor is a person who's been there and done that, and they're going to give me wise counsel. I'm going to go to them when I need something. They're a trusted advisor. They're going to walk me through a difficult decision. That's a mentor. And so the first thing you got to know is you may pick a mentor, but if they don't have any interest in being a mentor, then it's never, ever going to work. And I think this is big. A lot of people say, will you mentor me, Coach Burt? And I'm like, well, what does that consist of? Are you going to show up? Because I'll coach you all day long. If you'll show up and be here and be consistent, I'll coach you. Okay. But the first thing I think people got to do is find somebody that's interested in being that mentor.
Yeah. I want to be it makes it tough and less enjoyable if you got crowbar the information out of the person. And if they don't want to be a mentor, I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to do. You have to pull it out of them to get anything from them.
Yeah, and it's not a good relationship. You know, I hired a guy last year, 2 years ago, to be my enterprise coach. I paid him a lot of money. But the reason I paid this guy to coach me and mentor me in that scenario was because he bought a company at $5 million, he built it to $100 million, and he sold it. And he cashed out and made a fortune, and now it's a $500 million company. And that year, he coached me in one very specific area, how to take Micheal Burt from a solopreneur or single individual person to an enterprise, to Micheal Burt Enterprises, where it's scalable, where it's repeatable, where we could sell it in the future if we wanted to. And I needed a coach in that specific area. So, back to your question, Michael, where I go after mentors in a very specific niche. Like, how do I build a national brand? How do I build a personal brand? How do I scale a company to $500 million? How do I get involved in real estate? I need a very specific person to teach me that, typically somebody who's done it.
Yeah, there's not a one of those like random store, somebody that has everything. You don't go to a coach to learn personal branding, how to go to 500 mil. You go to them for the specifics and that they've done and you want to do, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, this is power stuff right here for those of you listening in. I mean, you got to be paying attention to the coach here, because this is the playbook for building a powerful, success system for yourself and for any business you build, whether it's your own, whether you're an automotivepreneur, whatever it might be. With that, coach, let me ask you. So you've got mentors now. You've got a variety of mentors in specific areas that you want to really progress in. Where do I go from here? What is a person of influence? What does that mean? How does that apply to a car sales professional? I mean, especially in an industry that's got this negative aura just hovering over it. People just would rather, jump off a cliff chewing on tinfoil than deal with the car dealer. How do I, let's say we're talking to me and I'm not in car sales or anything like that, but how does one become a person of influence?
Well, I want you to think of a person of influence, a person of interest, as a person that is very attractive to the market. It's a person that's in demand. It's a person that has certain ingredients. So in my town, 200,000 people where I live, there are car dealerships all over town. But there are certain people that became the car dealer in town. It's like a dealer of interest. It's a person that has certain skill sets. So let's see what skill sets they have. They have knowledge. They're considered experts. They know everything about the automotive industry. I mean, everything. They've got skills. They're unbelievably at disseminating what it is they know. They've got passion and desire. They've got deep conviction for what they do versus just someone who wants to make a little money on the side. They've got confidence. They're true professionals. They see their profession as no different than a doctor or a lawyer or these high esteemed positions out there in the market. They've also got incredible likability. That means they got good engagement. They got good energy. They've got deep networks. They know everybody. They're highly visible. They're seen about town with lots of circulation. And they've got some free prize. This is something in addition to that I get that I never expected. And this is one that a lot of people don't get. So I get that I can go to a car dealership, buy a car. So what? They may not ever follow up with me. They may never call me back. It may be an okay experience. I drive a BMW, and they call it the ultimate driving machine. I've got two BMWs, a white one and a black one. And I would tell you, I drive the diesel. It is the ultimate driving machine. And so here's what I look for, though. Did the person from the BMW dealership that sold me two BMWs, by the way, at one time, did they ever follow up with me? Did they ever get involved in my life? Did they ever come back and show me new versions of the BMWs? Did they ever send me anything? Did they ever invite me back to the dealership? Did they ever try to get any referrals out of me? And you know what? The answer is no. No to all of those. And so I'm sitting there going, man, we bought two $70,000 vehicles.
Yeah, you'd be a gold mine client too, Coach Burt.
Yeah,
boy, man, anybody
that's what I'm saying,
area
man.
Better get on the horn with Coach Burt.
And I got a $100,000 Mercedes Sprinter that I travel on. And I'm sitting there going, I can't get it, man, because somebody spends $70,000 with me. You better believe, man, we've got people assigned to them. We got people calling them every week. We want to be a person of interest to them because here's what we got to remember, guys. Like gravitates toward like. Association breeds assimilation. So Coach Burt runs around with other people that have similar interests. People that buy my coaching programs have similar interests. They see what I drive to the office every day. They say, where did you get that car at, man? I'd like to go get me one. So most auto dealers get a bad rap because of this. They don't treat themselves like professionals, number one. They don't follow up like they should. They see it as transactional versus transformational. And a person of interest is in the transformation business. Okay, they're never in a transaction business. So I'm interested in taking you, and not just the first deal. I'm interested in us having a long-term relationship where I'd take your energy from low thoughts to high thoughts, and I am your guy forever. That's what a person of interest does.
Nice. Yeah, man, you'd be a person of interest to me if I was selling cars still. Absolutely. Because then you'd be a good referral network too.
Absolutely, man. I see thousands of people a week, and I just don't understand. It's so hard for me to comprehend how you could sell a person that big of a purchase and they don't ever follow up with you. It just baffles me.
Oh, what about this? What about, what else what else they need to be a person of interest? And this comes from your playbook, Coach, is swag too, right? Swag.
Swag is a book I wrote, a small book I wrote that had a big impact on a lot of people. And I wrote that book because I believe that confidence affects all 7 billion people on the planet. And it's either your greatest asset or it's your greatest liability. It's either adding or subtracting. Confident people take risk and opportunity. Insecure people want comfort and complacency. They're always contracting. They're always retreating. And so a person of interest, notice that fourth ingredient of confidence. So a new word for confidence is swag, is that you've got this internal knowing and belief that you can create or manifest something. And so I'm attracted to people like that. When I really get down and I get tired, I watched a Tony Robbins video of him on Oprah Winfrey preparing for one of his Unleash the Power Within events. And I watch how he prepares, and I watch that there's 4,000 people coming. I watch how he gets his mind ready for what his body's about to do. And it reminds me, man, I am a person of interest. People are counting on me. They are expecting me to deliver the goods over and over and over. And when you can affirm and validate that in yourself, you first have to want to be a person of interest. I've never met a lazy person of interest, guys. You have to work hard at being a person of interest.
Nice.
Yeah, so your job isn't selling cars. Your job is becoming a person of interest. It's your personal brand, and it's applying those 4 ingredients that you just talked about.
Yeah, because the bigger your person of interest score is, here's the deal. You can dominate a local market. It's a lot harder to be a person of interest in New York City with 6 million people than it is in a market with 200,000 people. Yep. So I believe in these mid-major markets, 200,000 people or below, man, you can completely saturate and dominate the market. And so people ask me all of the time, this would be a great, for you guys to think about. They say, well, if you were in the car business, what would you do? Or if you were a real estate agent, what would you do? You know what I tell them? Exactly everything I'm doing right now. I would write books. I would have my own show. I would do my own podcast. I would be, I write an article every week in our local newspaper. We put out yard signs all over our city. Everybody needs a coach in life. We just completely saturate and dominate this market. Yeah. If I was in the car business, I would do the exact same thing because I do believe money follows attention. I do believe money follows energy. I do believe money follows circulation and activity. And so if you're really good, here's the problem. Nope, not enough people know it. People of interest are known. They're famous. They're celebrated. They are people that other people are interested in, okay? And so we got to give them something to talk about.
Yeah. Is it at some time, and in some cases, do you believe that visibility will trump ability?
I've got a coaching client right now named Tommy Davidson, and he read Person of Interest, and he's done all this stuff as a real estate agent. So he created his whole brand, Good Time Tommy. He's writing a book. He's got his own show on my network. No other real estate agent has done this because he believes it is all about status sales. And so he believes that people just go out there and pick any old random Joe to represent them in real estate. So if he's better known, he believes that they'll pick him. So it's created a lot of buzz in our community, a lot of people for and against. It's created even some controversy. But here's the deal. His belief is that status sells. And if he believes that, if you can get more attention, then many times it does trump ability. Now, here's where it's going to get you, Robert, is let's say you do have all this hype and people do sign up and they do come to you, but you're not very good. What happens is you get somebody one time, they become a lukewarm or passive customer, and you lose the lifetime referral of that consumer. And so it's almost that concept of it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I would add this: when you get there, you better know, because once people do business with you, they won't come back or refer you if it's a big flop and it's all marketing buzz.
Yeah, but even if it is marketing buzz, well, then you should at least be teaching that.
Absolutely,
yeah, because you are good at it. If you were able to get people to,
man,
yep,
yeah, no doubt. Person of interest. People. I wrote it on a premise that Jim Rohn said: to attract other people, we must become attractive. So what is it about our business that's attractive and what's unattractive? I think when you go to a car dealership, what's unattractive is a vulture sitting there waiting on me to pull in to attack me when I first get there to try to sell me a car. That's unattractive. So how can we solve that problem? Of me putting my defense mechanism up? How can we be more professional about it? How could we schedule appointments? How could we do things like real professional businesses do them? And it's what we got to do is look at, here's what's unattractive about buying a car. And another thing, when I bought these two BMWs, it took 6 or 8 hours to do this. It freaked the finance person out because I bought two at one time, and she blew her mind. And I was like, has this never happened before in the history of BMW? Somebody walk in and buy two of these? And so what should have been a great experience was just an okay experience. And I'm sitting there going, man, here, if you want to do this right, instead of it taking 6 hours and it being miserable, let's boil it down to an hour and a half. We get you the car you want at the price you want, and we do it in an hour and a half while you sit in this nice, luxurious place. We handle all the details for you. We get you cookies. We get you a sandwich. We get you whatever you need because you're spending $140,000 at one time with us. So whatever you need, we get it while we take care of this. And I think people need to really think about that. Even when the service comes, when you go back to get it serviced, what do they do? Do they have anything to eat there? The last time I took my BMW back, I had to walk across the street to get food. And so I'm walking out on the interstate to try to go get food. Hey, have the food there, man. Let's just start thinking about how we can make it great. Be the best at what the customer wants the most, okay? And they want convenience and speed.
Yeah, and don't show them if you're panicking because you're writing two deals at one time. Don't let the customer know. I'm just about to spend $140 and you're confused.
But you know what?
That's what
And for me, it all comes back to what you said earlier, Coach. It's all about you not just focusing on this transactional relationship. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we face right now is we're so concerned about going straight to the sell that the relationship doesn't expand beyond that, and that trickles down, and you see all these breakdowns in the dealership. It takes too long. It's not a very good experience because they're not thinking right now today, how do I become a person of interest? They're thinking, how do I make money to make ends meet today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Michael, is that the biggest challenge, one of the biggest negatives to people is temporary thinking, short-term temporary thinking. And you guys could tell me this because you know this industry, the auto industry better than I do. But in the real estate industry, and I coach thousands of real estate agents, here's what the stats tell me. You guys tell me what the stats are in your industry. For every one deal done, if it's done properly, if it's done really good, if there's a free prize, if it's exceptional, if we exceed expectation, that one deal should be worth 5.7 referrals over the lifetime of the customer, okay? So you should see every real estate transaction as 6 potential commissions. So having said that, what if I turn around and told you that 98% of real estate agents never call a customer back once they put them in a home? And the number one reason people don't refer their agent is they don't remember their name. So this is supposedly the largest financial transaction of your life. They'll tell you that on the front end when they sell you. Let me help you. Could take 6 months to 2 years with the largest transaction of your life. And when it's over, I'm going to be play such a minuscule role in your life that you're not even going to remember my name. Okay. So what are the stats in the auto industry? Is it something similar to this?
That's a good question. I actually don't have a hard stat. I know from my experiences, that's how I would always look at it. I always thought about when somebody would come in and they were that grindy, price-oriented, never wanted to. They were making it harder than it should have been, than it could have been. It's like, man, listen, I know I'm not going to get any referrals out of you. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested if it's only one deal. If I only see one deal in you, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but you know what? It brings up a good point though too, Robert, because most salespeople in the car business think about this one sale and, oh man, now I got to bump and grind and I got to hustle like nothing else next month because I sold the vehicle this month and now I got to create all these fresh opportunities. And they're not thinking about this, almost this residual effect of treat this customer with an incredible experience, and that actually turns into a residual income opportunity.
Well, yeah, and they burn it big time on the fact that, like, when it's a married couple, that I think it's like over 50% stat that the spouse will be buying a car in the next 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when you think about this, I look at different industries. They tell us that the average person will spend $75,000 over the course of their lifetime in furniture. From the time they got their first bedroom suit to the time, they're older. So if you were in the furniture business, how much of that would you want?
All of it.
You say, well, you say, man, I'd want all 75,000. So here's the deal. I look at the swimming pool. I put a swimming pool in at my house. Typical swimming pools are between $50,000 and $80,000, depending how expensive you get or how.
You live in Tennessee. Was that River Pools that put that in for you?
No, it wasn't River Pools. Okay, but I think about this because I was in a subdivision where they were building other swimming pools, and I was the very first one. So every person that put a swimming pool in came to my house and knocked on the door, and they said, "Coach Burt, can we look at your swimming pool?" And I'm like, "Sure, man, come on back and look at it." And then they asked the $1 million question: who put this pool in? And then the second question was, would you use them again? Now, let's do the math on that. Since then, there have been 9 other swimming pools in our subdivision. If I say yes, I would absolutely use them again. That's 9 times, let's say 50,000. That's 450,000 new dollars that comes into their company. If I say no, that's a potential loss of $450,000 to their company. So one customer, okay, in that scenario, me could have brought the company almost 500,000 of revenue if we do it a great job, if we service it correctly, if we exceed our expectation. And that's the short-term people thinking people don't think of. One car could be 6 cars, and so when people come to you, you need to always remember that every customer is one of 4 types. They are a passive. That means they did business with you. They could take it or leave it. There's no referral there, that you did make money off of them, but it's one time. Or they're a detractor. They did business with you. They didn't like it. So they're telling other people about the experience. Or they're a promoter. So they're actually talking. I call it chirping. There's a little bit of chatter. They're saying positive things about you, but they're not fighting for you in the market. And the 4th customer, the kind I like, are called advocates. Man, those people out there fighting for me. They're out there stepping up. Robert, when you read my books and listened to that, man, you were out there fighting for me. You're like, man, you got to get this book. We got to have this guy on the show. That's an advocate, okay? And depending on how I do on the show with you guys today, you'll walk out here and go, guy was passive. He was okay. Was, pretty good. Or, man, the guy was good. More people need to know about that. Yep. And that's the kind of experience I'm interested in creating, is to the level. I went to see Tony Robbins a few weeks ago in L.A., first time I'd ever seen him. The guy went for 12 straight hours on day number 1. 12 straight hours. He didn't take a break to use the bathroom. And I'm sitting there going, like, how does he do this? Yeah. I mean, so you know what he knows? People will leave there and tell that story. That, man, this was 4 days, 50 hours. The guy went 12 hours on day 1. And then you walked on hot coals. Then you walked on fire at 3:30 in the morning. And so what he's figured out to build a $500 million company is this experience has got to blow people's minds.
Mm-hmm. Man. Hold on, I'm finishing writing.
Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm writing notes. That's something that happens.
That's what I'm doing too.
It's what happens. We say that every episode. We're like, hold on, we're taking some notes here. That is some powerful stuff, Coach. In winding down here, I wouldn't mind you just talking a little bit, because I know our listeners are going to be are thinking, okay, how do we hook up with this guy? You mentioned earlier the Greatness Factory. What's that all about? What is that program like, or that variety of programs for those that are interested in connecting with you?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you that story winding down, man. I'm just getting cranked up. I thought we were going 12 hours, man.
We definitely could. We break it out into 4 segments.
I'm here, baby. I'm here. Let's go the distance. No, the Greatness Factory is a concept I created, and thank you for asking. It's a brand new concept I created, and I created it for this reason. I believe at some point in everyone's life, they make a decision, either through pain or potential or a role model or some pivot point in their life, that they want to pursue greatness. They want to become great at the personal level. Some people make it early. Some people make it late. Here's the problem. When you make that decision in your city, where do you go? You typically, you do what I did. You spend a couple $1,000s and you fly across the country and you walk on coals with Tony Robbins, and that's a 3-day event. And then it's over, man. It's over. It's great, but then it's over. So I said that's a problem. And what we did is build a Greatness Factory in our community. My goal is to have 50 all over the country. This is a place when Robert Wiseman makes a decision to become great in his life. He says, I know exactly where I'm going. I'm going down to the Greatness Factory. And we have programs for entrepreneurs like Monster Producer, which is a wildly popular program for entrepreneurs that want to be legendary creatures.
Yeah. Go into that real quick. The Monster, I like that one. What's a Monster Producer?
A Monster Producer is a legendary creature that combines multiple skill sets to dominate a market, okay? And so what we've done is created a 3-year, highly intensive coaching program. It's 1 year at a time, renewable at the end of every year. And it's for people who absolutely want to dominate their markets. They want to be monster producers. So it meets every month, 2 hours a month, either in person or online. We have people all over the world in the program. They get personal coaching from me and my team. I do all the sessions. They have accountability. And then we give them the structures they need to go out there and build a big-time business, build a scalable business, build a business they can potentially sell at some point. And so that's what Monster Producer is. And there's probably 50 to 60 people in that program right now. They pay almost $5,000 a year to be in that program at $399 per month, and we do it month after month after month. So I try to keep coaching programs affordable, cost-effective, and you can literally sit there and watch the program anywhere in the world. So we have programs for entrepreneurs like Monster Producer. We have Person of Interest Mastery, where it's a 2-day experience with me where I walk you through the book Person of Interest and show you how to dominate a market. We have the Cheetah School of Selling, which is my selling academy around our book Zebras and Cheetahs and our legacy selling. And then we have a new program called Talent Supply, where we take your people and in a very concentrated 90-day window, we get them talent ready to produce. And I do see car dealerships interested in this program because
it's like the minor leagues, the farm system.
Yeah, it is a farm system. So you're going to send them to us for 90 days. We're going to put them through intensive coaching, 2 to 3 hours for 3 days a week. We're going to teach them a selling system, how to service, and we're going to teach them mindset, how to prepare, how to plan, how to attack a week.
It's like
then we're going to give them back.
It's like sending the dog to the dog trainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And that's what it is. Yeah. So that's and we do all of that at the Greatness Factory. So you can go to mygreatnessfactory.com. You can see all of our program. It's all online and in person, so we can really sell it to anybody in the world. And that's my ultimate vision for scaling, Coach Burt, is that we do have these Greatness Factories all over the country, not just in one city. We got it in our first city here, and if it's successful, we'll scale these into other markets that I'll eventually either franchise or I'll own all the Greatness Factories, and then we run them. But the training will come from me. It comes from what's in my mind, what's in my books, and then we pump it out to the market. And the other place is just go to CoachBurt.com, which shows you all of the books I've written. We have 10 books out in the market. I do a weekly show on the Greatness Network, which is my own network.
We're going to link to all that goodness in there, definitely in the show notes, because the show's good.
So all you just type Coach Burt, man, Coach Micheal Burt, and you can find it.
I'm Michael Cirillo, and you've been listening to the Dealer Playbook Podcast. If you haven't yet, please click the subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. Leave a rating or review and share it with a colleague. Thanks for listening.